Welcome everyone to Diamond Skills. This is All In Broadcasting's coverage of the Diamond Skills All-American Camp. In front of you currently are Kevin Gibbs, who is talking to the sophomores and freshmen here at the All-American Camp. Kevin, one of the directors of the camp. You're also looking at now the freshmen, the seniors and juniors at our other cameras. We'll do everything from right now currently the infield outfielders will be hitting. So you'll be able to watch different areas of the cage. And then also we will go towards the 60 time and defense later in the day. So the freshmen are in the white, sophomores are in blue, seniors are in green, and the junior class is in red. In the cage right now is a blue 10. That is a sophomore. Red hat is from St. John's College High School.
Hey, where's the rest of y'all's group? Background noise. See, you got that microphone from Jay-Z or what? I would like to talk about Dan Nello on the World Wide Web here, live from the All-American Camp.
All right, so we're live here at the All-American Camp. Sean O'Connor here. Now brought to you with Kevin Gibbs. Kevin's one of the four founders of the Diamond Skills Camp. So, Kevin, explain what's going on right now, what you're seeing.
So, Sean, we always start camp with hitting first. So, what you have right now is we've got two cages going. The cages are split, so we've got four hitters in the two cages at any given time. We also have two side toss stations and two front toss stations. So, total, I guess the total station count of what is that? We've got 12 stations going right now.
So, explain a little bit as far as colors. You know, obviously, this is what probably your 10th year doing this, probably close to, if not longer. It's definitely the same camp for 10 years. The only difference is maybe the attendance of what you see as far as colleges, but that explains why we're doing this and why we're talking about this. But explain the colors of the kids so people at home will know what the different shirts mean.
Sure. So the freshmen are in the white shirts. The sophomores are in the blue shirts. Juniors are in the red shirts. Seniors are in the green shirts. And because Division I colleges are not allowed to be off campus during the winter, we've switched some of the things we do during camp to try to give the players some different some different exposure. So we're obviously have you here today going live over the internet to live stream the camp. The other thing that we've got is we've increased the number of metrics that we're testing each week with the players. So we have R&D development from Virginia out here with the Rapsodo and the Flight Scope to be able to track exit velo, distance. They can do spin rate and velocity with the pitchers. We've got our ZEP machines working to do hand speed, bat speed, launch angle. So we're really excited. We've got a great turnout. We had 20 coaches last week, 20 coaches this week, and we'll finish up with another strong group of coaches for week 3.
So let's break down some of the guys. We got guys in different cages here. We're bouncing back and forth in the cage, and you'll see. So I'll give Kevin a little thing here as we talk about. If we have the program and it shows us as program, that means this camera is the live camera. So if you look in the screen here of the monitor and you see that, you know that that's what we're talking about. So we can kind of break down as we have a pickup here in the one cage. So we'll kind of go to the far cage as far as that. We have 29 red in the far cage over there. So if you could maybe talk a little bit about where he's from.
So in the far cage we've got Ryan Mariani. Ryan is now he's just exiting the cage. Coming in behind him is Harrison Kantz. Harrison is a junior at Wooten High School. Harrison's been with us for a lot of years. He's a good player, big, strong right-handed hitter. Started out with us in our prospect camps as a 7th and 8th grader. And, this is one of the beautiful things about our camps. We see a lot of kids, Sean, that start with us as 7th and 8th graders. And now we're going to flip to number 22. That is Carson Collier. Carson's got a nice right-handed cut there. Plays his travel baseball for Elite. Elite's a program we've had a great relationship with over the years. Matt Wirtz has been a big supporter.
Looks like 21 red in the far cage over there is now hitting. So I don't know if we can grab that.
I'll get a real book.
Sure, we're going to get a real book here so we get some information. Kevin's going to step aside so we can get that as we go back and forth through the different things. In this cage here, we have 23 red on this cage, and then hopping right now that you're watching is 23 red.
Yeah, this is Tanner Dixon. Tanner's coming to us from Frederick High School. Tanner had a really good week last week. Drew a lot of interest from college coaches. You can see why. He's got good bat speed. Ball explodes off his barrel. So Charlie Furlong stepping into the cage now from Georgetown Prep. Charlie's a junior infielder here. Charlie's another kid been with us for a lot of years. His brothers came through the camps. Brothers were good players. Hey, look at Charlie. Look at his approach here. Nice short left-handed swing. Uses the whole field. Good balance at the plate. One of the things I look for in young hitters is head discipline, the ability to control that head through their swing. A lot of young guys tend to fly off the ball or have a lot of movement forward towards the pitcher. Charlie does a good job with that. And we're going to Matthew Ferroni from Pilati High School. Matthew's a 5'11", 165-pound infielder at Pilati, showing a lot of bat speed. Matthew was not here last week with us, but like what I'm seeing early today from Matthew. So we're going to lock in here on KJ Jarrett. KJ is a 5'10", 140-pound junior from Longreach High School. And this is KJ's first year with us. Again, like what I see from KJ in the cage, Sean, he's, showing, showing some good bat speed. And again, I love the balance, So 43
again, we talked about him earlier.
We got Nicholas Cook in here from Northern High School. Nicholas is a 6 foot, 185-pound infield pitcher, and ball's really jumping off his bat this morning, showing a nice compact swing. Nicholas is is a guy with a great frame. Batting practice pitcher's struggling a little bit getting it in there. There we go. Nicholas finished with a nice line drive in the left field there.
So we'll now go and allow us to talk a little bit about different things. We'll go to both cages where they'll be live. You'll be able to simultaneous do different things like that. You know, you talk about approach and you talk about different things from kids, and obviously you've been around the game for a long time and played at a very, very high level. And obviously now the game is seemed to get earlier and earlier as far as the recruitment. You know, you see kids and what I would imagine 10 years ago might not have been that important for them to get out and get exposure, and now seems to be almost to the point where sometimes it's too late. And not that it's in a bad way, because I think you, you weren't a late bloomer, but there's a lot of guys. I know one of your co-partners, Bobby.
So, it's interesting. When I was a senior in high school, I was trying to make a decision about, what college I was going to go to. And, a lot of people will tell you, again, kind of put a cut sheet together and go through the pros and cons. And I think for me, I actually followed my gut instinct. There was a lot of schools that I had the opportunity to go to, and I ended up going to Old Dominion. And people would say, hey, why did you go to Old Dominion over Miami or Florida State or Oklahoma State or Notre Dame? And sometimes, you just have that feeling that when you meet with a coach, when you see the facilities, when you talk to the academic advisors, that's where you want to be. And, even as an 18-year-old kid, that's a lot of information to process. I feel bad for these young players because I can't imagine having to kind of take in that information, as a 14-year-old, process it, and then try to make a decision about where I want to be 4 years from now as a college player, because your perspective changes, things that are important to you may change, and so it's just in a lot of ways it's unfortunate for younger players that they got to make these big decisions such a young age, but on the flip side, they do get the security of being able to have an idea of really early in their high school career where they're going to go to college.
Well, and you look at the game and you look at the situation, and I know there's a lot of people, and I'm sure you're on the same boat that I am. That these athletes should get some kind of compensation for their time and their effort. And the way you look at it, and the way I look at it, is probably in the same way. The amount we get out of our education, and the fact that either they helped you with tutoring, or they helped you with getting into classes, or they even helped you financially. The value of that education doesn't make a difference what level it is. Division 1, Division 2, Division 3. I'd hate to put numbers in it, but I know from my kids, you get involved in athletics and you go in college, you have a better chance of graduating. Period. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So as these kids are going through this, and the one advice I'll have if people are watching and doing stuff like that, number one is anybody can play college baseball. There's a spot for every kid to play, and I mean that throughout the country. It's finding that right spot for you. That kind of is the tough thing sometimes.
Yeah, I think that's a great point, right? Because what you're really looking for baseball to do is to advance the ball academically, right? So if you could have gotten into school Y on your own as a student, you're hoping you can get into school A using baseball as that extra, I guess, differentiating point with the admissions office. So I'm always, I know I've got a ninth grader, and my big thing with him has been like, hey, you know, you want to use baseball. Don't let baseball use you. You want to use baseball to increase the academic and educational opportunities you have as a collegiate player, because it's going to be real. For the few rare guys, they're going to actually get paid to play at some point. But for most of these guys, all they're looking to do is advance the ball, as a college player, and find that school that they wouldn't have been able to get into just as a student. They're able to get into a higher level academic school because they're a student athlete.
Well, and I look at things a lot differently from a perspective of me. I didn't have the opportunity to play professional baseball, but that doesn't mean I'm not a professional. It's just a different asset. I get paid to coach, so therefore, in my life, I've become a professional in the game of baseball, just like you have. I mean, you played at a much higher level, but it's in your blood. It's not that you're going to give it up. It's not that it's what you want to do. So if you can use your passion or your love to get something out of it, I think you've hit a point dead on. Now, obviously, we're getting where the whites are starting to come up, and obviously that's your son, and I'm sure you're not going to critique him. I don't want to, get yourself in that situation, but give your advice to another freshman parent. I mean, you have your kid at this camp. It's not just because you run the camp. What advice would you have of somebody as a freshman? Because the number one thing I always tell people is you're not too early. So if you said, look, I missed diamond skills. Obviously, there's one more week, so you could still sign up if you wanted to. I'm sure if you talk to people, you could definitely get yourself in front of the college and stuff like that. But if you miss it, obviously it's have a good high school season. But what do you think the next plan if you have a kid, if you're giving Casey's dad advice?
So that's a great question, Sean. So here's kind of my overarching philosophy, behind this process, right? You do want to get exposure. So for a kid in the DMV to be able to come to this camp and go in front of, call it, 60 colleges over a 3-week period is an outstanding opportunity. One of the great things too is that as a freshman, it gives you a little bit of a chance to experience this and kind of go through it, so that when you jump out there next summer after your freshman year in high school, you've kind of been through an evaluation process in front of a bunch of coaches, and you know how to kind of relax and settle yourself in. You know how to handle, when you're not playing as well. One thing I try to tell the kids is that you need to recruit the colleges as much as the colleges recruit you. So I would tell every dad to tell their kid, take a picture of the schools that are at camp each week, and then send each of those schools an email and say, introduce yourself, tell them that you're interested, ask them, what they're looking for in players, and start to begin the process of exchanging information, trying to get them out to see you. Schools like to feel the love too. They want to recruit guys who are good players that want to be part of their program. And so, one of the things I always harp on with these guys is that if you think you're going to just sit back and have all these offers coming your way, you're probably mistaken, because there's very few Alex Rodriguez's, there's very few Derek Jeters that are that good where schools are just going to come flocking towards you because the kind of player you are. Most of these guys are all kind of bunched up in that middle category of solid players, and they got to figure out some way to separate themselves. And my big thing would be recruit the schools, as much as they recruit you, and take advantage of every opportunity you can, to get in front of schools.
Well, and my advice to you is, and my advice, it's very simple. I know of maybe 2 or 3 people that have ever played this game that went out on their own terms. No matter what it is, somebody taps you on the shoulders and says, "It's time to give it up." And when I'm talking about those guys, it's guys like Cal Ripken, it's guys like Derek Jeter. It's not the everyday, as we're having another switch here, so you'll see a massive switch and kind of a lack of a cage here through the process. But you go through that and you put yourself up there. You're seeing the evaluation part. Obviously, that's what we're showing you in the thing. But I think the camp is different, and I think that's something you should put out there as far as the process, because it's not just, hey, let's put you in front of 20 colleges. Let's put you in front of...
Sure. Yeah, I was about to tweet that.
So now what do I do?
So good. Right in town. What'd you say? AI broadcast? AI broadcast.
What is it? What kind of broadcast is it?
Broadcast. You're not. That's your Twitter. That's the Twitter.
You still got a concussion from freshman football? You got fat fingers, man.
So,
broadcast.com?
no. Are you adding it? What are you doing?
Just say no. Alright,
How many more rotations do you have? 3?
we got one more hitting. I'm gonna let Bobby jump in. We'll talk scouting with him. I'm sure people are tired of hearing it. Here's the roster. I'm gonna start doing some.
I can hold it. Kevin can hold it. Either way, whatever's easiest for you. Whatever's easiest for you.
Hey, how do I get it?
Okay, we're back out of here at the Diamond Skills Camp. You're seeing the the green are the juniors, correct, Bobby? Seniors. So the green are the seniors. So these the class of 2018. I'm now joined with Bobby St. Pierre, again one of the quad founders of the Diamond Skills Camp. Uh, I would say Bobby probably handles most of the pitching here as far as the camp, but Bobby works for the Houston Astros. He's a scout for that. Lives in the Atlanta area. Comes back and gives his time and effort to the camp, to say the least. So we're probably not going to, because I do think there is some advantage to
An evaluation on a player, um, we pour as much information into that decision-making process as we can. So, that's for scout evaluations, for as much data as we can collect. Statistically, what do we have on the player? And each of those criteria on a historical basis. How have they improved? How have they adjusted? So, it's just the direction that baseball in general is going, and certainly um, in terms of scouting, as much information as we can derive from a player, we have a better opportunity to make a good decision.
well, I think it's unique, and obviously we look at the the video and the different things like that. The video is so good that you can film and you can watch, even if it's the ACC and the ESPN3 or anything that you see, even junior colleges. Some junior colleges you can watch. That I think the whole premise of the whole idea of you can't get something on a video, I think it's false. I think it's so much better now that it's about how you film it. It's the angles that you get. Because I would imagine if you could use a resource, if you're looking at a kid, that I could watch him, I'm going to watch him.
Absolutely. And if you feel that you need to go lay eyes on a player in person, yeah, that's certainly important. But all this video and with what we can do with the video now, that's all supplemental to the in-person evaluation. Not only that, but within a given organization, you can then share that video with different resources, your player development department, your various front office people, and everybody gets a chance to see the video and break it down.
As we're bouncing through here, we have, as Bobby mentioned, the seniors in green, and I believe the juniors in red. Correct?
Correct.
Okay, so you see juniors as we walk in the cage in front of us. Number 12 or 17, St. John's hat, so he's a red. And as we talked about, we won't break down the kids as much as we will in the back. If you see in the video, you see some white. Those are the freshman kid, and I believe that'll be the last rotation because we have yet to see them on the cage from that. From now they hit, Bob. What should people expect to do from here?
break down defensive fundamentals and
Obviously, Bobby didn't go to the same math class that I did. 18 to 20s rounded up to 25 in my thing, but that's okay. We're close enough. We're not far off. You know, it's not.
probably
They're watching it on their screen. And then you have people that are going to watch it on television. And, you know, the people that are watching it on television, that triples. So you figure that's what we're and that might be something you know, love it. But somebody that can now translate that to the biggest screen or TV, multiply that. So even if you multiply the iPad, you know, it's not
Go Force Way!
All right, guys, back out here. We're at the All-American Camp now doing the outfield stuff. You're seeing different guys on the right side of your screen. Kevin, you talk about who's on the right side of the screen for these guys right now.
Yeah, right side of the screen, we got TJ Williams. TJ is a sophomore outfielder at Georgetown Prep, 5'11", 160. TJ just committed to play at the University of Notre Dame. So, but he's a great example. He's a guy that is already committed, but he's here. He wants to get his numbers, wants to get a great workout in. And obviously, you know, he's going to Notre Dame. He's a really high-level guy.
Well, you talked about numbers, and one of the things I think we talked about this the other night, you were surprised how many guys were actually asking about their numbers immediately almost.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, guys are so interested in, you know, exit velocity, bat speed, hand speed, 60 times, 30 times, arm strength, quickness, you know, lateral agility, explosion. And, you know, the really cool thing is that they get to do it in an environment with their peers. So, you know, they're running the 60s against each other. You know, they're hitting in the cage and, you know, getting measured on their exit velocity with the, you know, with the same equipment. So it really is an apples-to-apples comparison.
Well, I think you hit it right on the head when you talk numbers. If you're not comparing it against something or know what to compare it against, it's important to have this is what my time is compared to a TJ Williams, who's committed to Notre Dame, and now my exit velocity is this, or my GPA is that. I mean, you have to compare those to know what kind of player you really are.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And Sean, I'm going to be back in 2 minutes. We're going to switch out here. The seniors, juniors, and sophomores are finishing up right now.
So that's what we're seeing right now. Seniors, juniors, and sophomores. Seniors in green,
juniors in red,
and sophomores
in
blue.
blue. And now we're going to switch out. We're going to get our freshmen and sophomores, our other group of sophomores, on the main floor.
Okay, no problem. All right, we're back out here. I have Kevin back out here talking with now the freshman and sophomore group that we have. So, Kev, talk about what's going on right now.
Yeah, so right now the outfielders we're measuring arm strength. You'll see the Rapsodo machines in front of the players. So as they come through, it's measuring arm strength. We've got guys writing everything down. The big things we're working on here with our outfielders are, it's a showcase setting. So what you want to do here is you really want to show arm strength. We're not as worried about accuracy. This is not, a cutoff situation. This is get your weight on the back leg and show these college guys some arm strength. If you're going to miss, we want you to miss high. We want you to get through the base, through the cutoff guy. What you'll see with a lot of young players at camp, especially the first week or two, you're going to see a lot of bad footwork, a lot of guys rushing things because they're a little bit nervous, all these college coaches watching. So when we finish on the live floor here, we bring them off to the side. We switch with the infielders. We go off to the side, and we're working fundamentals. We're working footwork. We're working drop steps. And as you can watch these guys go through, you see some guys with some pretty good arm strength, a lot of guys with really bad footwork. And outfielders got to know that you're going to get your arm strength from your lower half.
Well, you got young kids here, so you got freshmen and sophomore, and again, we talked about how the game's evolved, but it still is to the point if you watch 12-year-old or 11-year-old baseball that the kid in right field is probably not the shortstop. Now you get to high school.
15 years in the big leagues. Jose Cruz Jr. played 15 years in the big leagues, and I was playing center field, and we're playing Cuba in a championship game of what they call the U.S. Cup in Millington, Tennessee. We had about 10,000 people there. 8th inning, 2-2 game, 2 outs, runner at second base, and I'm playing center field, base hit to center, and I did not have a good arm. I had good technique, but I hurt my arm playing football in high school. And I ended up throwing the guy out at home plate. And I got to tell you, when you talk about momentum shift, when you talk about something that gets you fired up as a player, gets you fired up as an outfielder, throwing that guy out at home plate against Cuba was one of those moments in my career that I'll never forget.
And something it makes you go through practice and makes you do some stuff like this. We talked about different players and different things as far as that. Again, the guys you're seeing in white are freshmen. The guys you're seeing in blue are sophomores. As far as the camp thing, I know you were talking to some guys. Talk a little bit about the Rhapsody, the different things, the measurements that you're doing and what those really mean for kids.
Yeah, so the Rapsodo machines that you see out here, they can measure almost, I think, 100 different metrics. What we're using them for, is arm strength. We want college coaches to be able to see what is, kind of the pure arm strength that these guys have, as outfielders.
So you're talking ball in the arm, not release point, so truly what the top end speed is?
Exactly, yeah, top end speed. And what we do is, because the Division I coaches can't come to this camp, we're aggregating all this data and we package it up and send it off to the Division I. So they're going to see, freshman. You're a freshman. Let's say you measure, really top end, arm speed. You measure 85 or 90 mile an hour arm speed. That's going to be something that these guys are going to take notice of when they get this informational package. It might be a way for some of these guys to start the recruiting process with some of these Division I schools.
Well, and now with the video that we're doing today, hopefully the quality is good enough for them to go, you know what, I saw that guy's number, and let's take a look at the outfield session as we break them up and we go there. As you get some attention here, go back to your duties as camp director.
And Sean, what I'll tell you real quick, we're gonna bring all the outfielders on the floor, and we're gonna run fly patterns so the coaches can watch them run and track fly balls. So you'll see that happen right now.
Perfect. Thanks, Kev.
committed somewhere, isn't he? Davis?
I'm not sure. I don't think so. If he's here. Going well. I love this angles. No, I'm serious. I'm a little scared now.
Same thing. As you left, right, slow roller. Hey, Sid. You got to hit the shortstop. Jeff's angle's messing everybody up. You hit the boat on the line. He's going to hit the live session. You hit now, he'll hit the row. Switch to the shortstops when they throw across. 38. Quarter row, guys, quarter row.
Hot. All right, we're back out. Coverage here. We are now with the sophomores and freshmen. Freshmen in white, sophomores here in blue. You're seeing the two angles, one from a far angle, and then the one closer, showing a little bit of the arm strength for the kids. So, Rod, tell me exactly, if you're telling the kid that's coming to this camp, what you would like to see them do here.
Well, I think in an environment like this, especially if you're indoors, take your time a little bit. It's a real fast surface, to say the least. So, to stay under control, let the coaches, see your hands, the basic stuff, but also to be able to show off your arm a little bit. But, sometimes younger guys, they like to rush a little bit and get a little excited.
Well, I was going to ask you that question. I mean, obviously the ball's on top of you. a lot faster than it per se it would be in a game.
Right.
Is that an advantage to a younger kid because he has less time to think?
Well, it might help a little bit. I mean, I think with these guys, you know, they're already revved up, they're excited, and I think that's one of the nice experiences about the camp. And I try to tell our guys, especially freshmen and some of the sophomores, listen, you know, and talk to them and watch them. I remember we came in here one year when we had a few Division I guys. Camp starts at 7:30, and my freshmen rolled in to help put some of the stuff away and set up, and there's 3 or 4 of the Division I guys who are already committed hitting in the cage at 6:45 in the morning, and I didn't have to say a whole lot. It was just, hey, well, okay, I get it. I see why these.
That's why they are.
Exactly. So it's good. You know, you can talk a lot about it, but sometimes the boys have to not just see it, but see it and feel it.
Well, and isn't that really what the game's all about? It's your job to pass it down to the next guy. It's why you coach. It's why I coach. It's why we're involved. It's because somebody took the time to teach us the way to do it. And
absolutely.
It's kind of the pass down, if you want to say father to son or just player to player. You know,
absolutely.
It's why you do it.
And I think if you can really bestow that on the high school guys, that's their job as well. You know, as upperclassmen, maybe the underclassmen, or you know, high school guys to younger brothers, younger kids on younger teams. It's important for them to be able to do that, and it's part of being a team. And you know, that's one of the hardest things I think we as high school coaches and talk to some of the college coaches talk about is, how do you play on a team? You know, these guys come from a lot of showcase environments. They come from a lot of different teams, which, you know, that's all good, but you got to learn how to play on a team and play your part, regardless if it's a position you want to play or not. So it's good for them to be around each other, and we enjoy it. These are fun times, I know, for Kevin and Mark and I to be able to do these camps and see these guys, especially see some of these guys that are seniors now that were freshmen just a couple of years ago.
Well, and we're wrapping up. This will be, if people are tuning in, have tuned into the whole 3 hours, this will be pretty much the end of the camp. There really is nothing after this point, correct?
Correct. Yeah, we'll be finishing up here with these guys. They've already done their running and their hitting and their throwing, and then we got the pitchers and catchers coming in here in about an hour.
Okay, and then the catcher, they'll be doing the same situation. For us, we'll have multiple mounds where you're seeing these shortstops at right now. There'll be mounds set up.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, we'll have about a 20-minute transition. Catchers will get in here, and you'll see the catchers hit. A few pitchers, but mainly the catchers. Then you get a good view of the catchers throwing. Distance of the field house as well here in a little bit as well.
Very cool. All right, Chris. Thanks.
All
I
right,
appreciate
thanks,
it. Go back
Sean.
to work.
Absolutely.